You know, I've been thinking I should be the main character. But I'm the main character. Yeah, but I think I would do a better job. And why is that? Well, I could hunt the monsters and then research them at the same time. Oh, you make a good point. You're just a beefy middleman. Aw, thank you. That wasn't meant to be a compliment. I am quite beefy, aren't I? Ladies, gentlemen, and monsters of all ages, everyone here plays Monster Hunter, and for the most part, the people who play these games become absolutely smitten with them. There are no other games that quite compare to that feeling that Monster Hunter can give you, and it's easy to become incredibly attached to it. And as with all things that people feel strongly about, we all have our own opinions about individual games and the series as a whole, but once in a while someone will put out an opinion of their very own about Monster Hunter that just sort of makes me cringe significantly in one way or another, either a point delivered in an asinine way, or calling the devs names for no particular reason, or sometimes even just straight up lies. It's important to understand proper communication, especially if you want people to actually listen to what you have to say, and sometimes these things just bother me too much to ignore, and so we have this series. It's important for me to mention here that I don't hate or even dislike any of the people who have said these things. I just take issue with how they felt in that specific moment and how they chose to convey it to the world as a whole. It may have just been a bad day for them, but once you put words out into the public eye, they stay there forever, and you open them up to judgment. And of course, as there has recently been a title update for Sunbreak, the vast majority of these will be directly referring to said update unless specified otherwise. Without further ado then, Gallius, if you wouldn't mind getting us started. As I expected, we have less content with each update, same as Rise. I even laughed when you said multiple updates in 2023, meaning a few mega easy event quests or collab here and there. Can't wait for the joke to end, been waiting for the next real MH game on new gen systems. Have you even played Sunbreak? Because this just sounds like someone who is frustrated they don't have access to the current Monster Hunter game. Of course, there is less content in this update. They literally added the endgame system for the expansion in the first update. Did you want them to add in an entire endgame with every single update so that we have like 8 different grinds by the end of the life cycle? That's just not feasible. Aside from that, there just wasn't less though. In fact, you could argue that the 3 monsters that we got added were significantly more impactful than the ones from last time, and they took significantly more development as well, given that the Metal Rasp we got the first time around were in Iceborne and didn't get particularly massive changes from their Iceborne state, whereas the 3 monsters this time around were all totally new to the main series in every feasible way. I have no idea what your standards are, but you seem quite jaded, quite angry with something that you've given no proper reason to be angry with, in this at least. Not to mention there will be multiple updates in 2023, as they've told us, and they won't just be event quests. They never label event quests as title updates. Updates are new monsters and equipment. It's simple as that. Gallius? Violet dies before it can use its ultimate attack. I recognize that you meant this as a complaint, but it seems much more like a humble brag. Like, there are tons of hunters out there who don't find Violet Mizutsune easy at all. Your issue here is that you are a good hunter, right? Your problem is that you are better than average, and you don't enjoy the experience. So, get worse, I guess? Gallius? I sure hope Monster Hunter 6 is nothing like Rise's combat. The updates were looking great though. Haven't fought the new stuff because I just don't like the direction that Rise went. It's just AoE spammy monsters and attack spammy hunters. See, this is one that I wanted to share for a different reason than normal. This is a complaint, for sure, undoubtedly. It has multiple layers, though. It describes its point for the most part, and it isn't rude or mean for no reason. This is someone who is actually reasonable, saying, I don't like Rise, here is why, I hope the next game changes these things. I'm not going to bash this at all. This is simply an example of what an actual constructive complaint looks like. I may not agree with the idea that the gameplay is spammy, but I can understand where it's coming from, and I can understand what they're saying because they put it in a reasonable way. Gallius? Update would be great if I actually got to layer my weapons like I can my armor. Slightly slanted face. Then I guess the update is great because you can in fact layer your weapons now in exactly the same way as the armor. Well, that was an easy fix. Maybe pay more attention next time. Gallius? Honestly, I haven't even updated the game for it yet. Rise got seriously boring when every monster started dying in 5 to 6 minutes. then I guess you haven't done anomaly quests or the title update monsters at all that have been released. But if you have somehow done those and this is what you're talking about, you should talk to the guy who complained about Violet Mizitsune, because again, your problem seems to be that you're too good at the game. You're too good at Monster Hunter. The monsters are dying quickly because you're good at it. That's not the game's fault. That is you getting better. And guess what? Monsters could be killed in the same amount of time in World and Iceborne. This isn't a new thing. It's been going this way for a while. Gallius? I'm a bit disappointed there's still no Attack Boost Plus, Critical Boost Plus, Weakness Exploit Plus, and Critical Eye Plus decorations at this point. Not a fan of having it locked, brackets, ripped off, for the sake of slow release updates to prolong the game's life. But why? Yes, those decorations are incredibly good, but they are also ridiculously boring. Why would you even actively want them around? Why would you want them to be in the game? All they do is increase your power with no actual creativity involved in the builds. I loved the period of Monster Hunter games where those don't exist, and I would honestly be happy if they were never added again, simply because they sort of kill build creativity. 4-slot decorations being saved to more interesting skills for utility or just off the beaten path type of things that can be labeled utility or off meta, is something that actually makes the builds in the game just way more unique and better feeling. Because if we had a 4-slot for every one of the skills that you mentioned, then every endgame build would be the exact same boring raw build with nothing fun going on top of it. Yes, I understand that some people just like putting out the big number and seeing the monster die quickly, but there are just so many more interesting ways to do it, so many more interesting ways to play Monster Hunter than just max attack, max crit, ignore every other skill in the game. Gallius? Uninspired shit. God damn, that is some venom. Did one of the itty bitty monsters kill you for 3 hours? Or are you just having a bad day and found yourself here by accident and wanted to add something to the conversation? Which I guess you could say that you didn't. What a pointless comment to leave. Gallius? MHW2, please. No. Gallius? This is the most fun I've ever had, LOL, when that attack killed all 4 of us hunters. I can't tell if this is sarcasm or not. The all caps is sort of really throwing me off, and I guess I want to respond to it both ways, because if it is sarcasm, that means that 4 people died to a super attack with a super long telegraph, so, Dodge! But if it isn't sarcasm, I sort of love this, and I sort of hope that it's not sarcasm as well, because it just looks like someone who is super pumped just to live life as a monster hunter. Yes, we all died! Monster feels good! I love that energy. That is the type of wherewithal to just say, yeah, we made a mistake, every single one of us on the hunt, but it was cool, and I have to learn the monster's moveset a little bit, which is great. And that is just such a good energy to have when playing that I just really hope this was genuine. Gallius? Everything. Games called Sunbreak when it's way more like Glitch Break. Constantly getting bullshitted by multiple things, Silkbind's either not triggering or completely not working, getting hit by attacks that are nowhere close to hitting me, and so much more. Okay, alright, calm down here, friend. I have never experienced any of this, and I have, quite a lot of hours in this game. If your Silkbinds aren't going off, then you either don't have the required wirebugs to make it happen, or you're pressing the wrong inputs, put quite simply. Maybe your game is particularly laggy for particularly unique reasons. I don't really know what your situation is, but this isn't a way to describe the game as a whole. As for hitboxes, yeah, we all like to complain about a hitbox every once in a while, but the reality of it is that we are just frustrated that we got it wrong. If you actually look at it carefully, purposefully, if you just go around dodging for a while, not attacking at all, just dodging, you'll generally find that Sunbreak either has the tightest or tied tightest hitboxes just in the entire series of Monster Hunter. You can be an inch away from an attack and not get hit by it because they are actually quite reasonably laid out. The only ones that bug me really are things like if a monster does a bite attack and you're by its leg and its leg just twitches slightly but it hits you because it counts part of the attack, but those are extremely few and far between, and honestly, even though they frustrate me, they make sense. The monster is moving. The monsters are giant. If the monster moves its giant body and you come in contact with its moving giant body, it will hurt you even a little tiny bit. Honestly, this person just seems angry in general with no actual idea why they are mad to me. And that will do it for today. That's just about all I can handle. This has been an exploration into some of the more interesting and strange opinions that I found about Sunbreak recently, specifically mostly relating to Title Update 2 itself. I hope you've gotten some sort of enjoyment out of this, because I always just wind find it frustrating that people can be that way sometimes. Like if you like the video, subscribe to the notification bell for more, and most importantly, ladies and gentlemen, until next time, stay sweet.
Josh, Cotton, and Hollow with the videos, dropping the humor like a hammer on your tippy toes, bringing entertainment on a daily arrangement to take our insanity and turn it into entertainment. Yes, I said entertainment twice, to reiterate that it is nice to look into your faces on a mostly daily basis when you let us in your homes to make the whole world a stage. Goodbye.